There we are. Okay. So we will talk about why in the world should we even be doing video. We will talk about the nitty gritty of how to do video to some degree, the nitty gritty. And then we will also talk about why in the world are we just not doing it and what gets in the way. And that's really, I think, where we'll end up with a decent amount of time, because at least for me, that was always the issue. It was, I could have all the things lined up and then I was like, yeah, but I'm not doing it. So we're just going to go through this together. This is not a, hey, Peter knows better than you guys. This is something that I have battled for years now at this point of doing video consistently. And so we're just going to kind of go on this journey together and we'll see where it takes us. So the first thing is, let's talk about why even to do video in the first place. And this might seem like a kind of a stupid question, but the very easy one is that social media is much more in tune to video than it is to anything else. Instagram has spent an insane amount of money blasting out Reels, which is the new under 30-second Instagram. You can get a video that may have regularly on your Instagram feed gotten 50 likes or 50 views even, may get 1,500 to 2,000 on Reels, because they are really pushing that type of content. They're trying to compete with TikTok is what it really is. So Instagram, just like when Facebook added stories to compete with Instagram stories, which was trying to compete with Snapchat, same thing. But I think the really important thing about this is, go ahead. Oh, I don't know. Just let me know. Sometimes this comes through on the TV and sometimes not. Just let me know if somebody's saying something and I'll try and stop. The thing that I've really noticed is I spend a lot of time on YouTube and on podcasts and things like that, because I always like to be blasting something into my head. But you have an element of familiarity with video that you don't with anything else. If you watch, let's say you watch a particular like cable news anchor every night, you may have a kind of a different perception of them than you would have just somebody that you're reading their column every day. Something about video really gives you a genuine rapport with somebody. And if we want to, especially if we're not going to be some of us are not dialers or callers, or do you want me to stand up and get out of the way?
No, I just want that chair because.
Oh, this chair?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me take this chair. Kim and I are playing musical chairs. Okay.
Have your long legs.
Okay. Sorry, Kim and I had to play musical chairs. But can you see though, or is it fine? I don't know if this even. So if you are not, and if you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna get on the phone every day for 3 hours and dial and have conversations with 35 people every day, fantastic. But if that is just not your speed and you know that that's not something you're going to be, and I'm not saying that you should not call your sphere of influence, you absolutely should be doing that. But if you want to connect with a ton of people at once, there just is there's not a better solution than video. And I think I've said this before, but I can point to points in my career and I can almost to the month track how well my career was doing by going onto my Facebook business page and looking at when I was posting video consistently. So if you went on and someone could probably verify this, but if you went on and you looked at 90-day cycles on my Facebook business page of when videos were going out every week, and then you pulled my old Brokermetrics report, if it went back that far, I would guarantee you that you would see kind of that swing that way. And I've told the story before of selling a house, my kindergarten art teacher's house, because they were seeing videos on Facebook. And it wasn't just I followed you on social media. It was, oh, I saw your videos. And especially for those people that I know that when we were doing mid-year reviews, some folks were saying, hey, well, what do we do with the people that we haven't talked to in 5 years? Or video is a great way to kind of keep those people engaged. Maybe they're not responding to stuff that you're sending them, but they will definitely respond to video. Oh shoot, I got ahead of myself there. The other thing that I think is really important, there's going to be two things that are going to be kind of not upcoming, but that I think are going to be important. The first is that we've said this before, being the knowledge broker is going to be the best upcoming thing, and being what we call the mayor of your town on video. There is no denying that the way that real estate is done is changing, and the way that people are looking for agents changing. Some of them are going to these third-party companies. Some of them are starting on Zillow. And if we want to keep our people coming to us instead of to Zillow or to Home Light or whatever. We got to make sure that people know that you are the expert and really it's not just in real estate, it's in everything. The other thing is if you look just from the stats, a very small portion of your database will give you the vast majority of your referrals. We call that your tribe. This is the people that will support you, that are the people that are going to give you high fives and they're going to give you referrals no matter what. Keeping those people engaged is probably more important than almost anything else. And building that tribe is, I think, probably the most important thing about videos. It's going to keep you top of mind. It's free, but it's really going to build that kind of core. They always, like in politics, they say they're pandering to the base. You want to build your base. We'll call it that. I don't have a better term for it than that. Yeah. So
we're not pandering.
No, we're not pandering, exactly. And I don't mean to say that for the vast majority of video, it is not going to be we all know the difference between branding and marketing. It is not a marketing thing most of the time. This is not going to be something that's going to bring you immediate business the vast majority of the time, but it is something that's going to build your brand. That's going to build, we've talked about it before, the way that everything that you do is building your brand. And there's no wrong answer to what your brand is. I've always talked about my friend Rena, who parked her giant Jeep Wrangler in the parking lot or the driveway of open houses with a giant open house sign on it, and like never dressed up. Like it was her brand. Like you knew that she had a Jeep Wrangler with the doors off, and like that was her thing. So whatever that brand is to you, that's okay. And it's not going to be the same for any of us. Yeah. And I think that actually, Kim brought up Izzy. I think that actually is a really great point. Like for you, Izzy is kind of part of your brand. Like there is, and for Lauren, just because I'm thinking of her dogs off the top, her dogs are kind of a part of her brand. They go along with what she's doing. And it is, there's no, again, wrong answer to what your brand is, but I think video is a great element of that. And there's a funny thing too, with just on a dog note, you can see sometimes in the personality of dogs, the personalities of their owners. And so I just think that dogs are underutilized in real estate marketing.
Babies, right?
Seriously, the most interacted with posts that I've had are dogs or their pregnant Caitlin. Seriously, dogs and babies, guys. That's the key. That's just to take that away from this.
So you have to get another dog.
Yeah. All right. So this stuff we may just zoom through because it's kind of boring. You know what? I'm just going to skip this because I'm going to go through each of these individually. A couple platforms that I think that you should focus on a couple of these and tailor them to what you want to do. So those would be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. If you are, hey, that doesn't sound all that interesting, just don't even do it, is kind of my opinion. I did not include TikTok on here because totally honestly, I don't know enough about it to say anything about it. My wife is on TikTok. My 22-year-old sister-in-law is on it. And like, okay, great. I don't know. I have seen some realtors that seem to have a fantastic following there. I think that's kind of getting to the point where we blend the line of like fun and professionalism, and maybe we're kind of crossing that over where we get some of these TikToks. I don't know. So I've kind of stayed away from it. I'm not saying you should. If you want to go make funny TikToks, fantastic, have at it, and let me know how it goes. So YouTube is the big one. I think that to some degree, your video channels are going to not replace your website, but are certainly going to be a complement to your website. And I think that there should be a very obvious link in your website to your channel, or you should embed it in your website, which we'll talk about. But we want to have a specific purpose in mind for whatever we're doing. We want to kind of be mindful of what we're doing. If we're going to do video, let's have it have a specific purpose. Just like if we're doing any lead generation or any marketing, let's have it have a purpose in mind. So for YouTube, it is, yes, could you build a channel and you could monetize and all these other things? Yes, but are you going to do that? Probably not. What it really is number one, it's what we would call social proof. So that would be, hey, we listed and sold this for this price, and people can see that. It is building your credibility, especially if you haven't been in the business a long time. Having a backlog of 55 YouTube videos that you can have on a thumb drive and give to a client, or send them a link and say, hey, check out my YouTube channel before I come to your listing appointment. Man, you say, well, hey, how long have you been in the business? I don't know, long enough to make 55 YouTube videos. So I think that's a big thing. And then I also think as a resource for future clients. What?
December and January. How I spent my December. And
Exactly.
January.
And honestly, that Peg just said December and January. Yeah, that is actually a great point. That's when a lot of those projects that got tabled happened for me, was December and January, or slow open houses were always something that I got projects done. So set aside that time, guys. The other one, yeah, as a resource for future clients, I think that it would be extremely helpful for you to have an FAQs or I had it on a thumb drive at one time, and I don't know what happened to it. I have to go back and look, but I actually had a series of, I think it was 10 videos explaining the buyer process and the seller process. Hey, this is what happens in an appraisal. Here's what happens at a home inspection. And I could just hand it out. And it helped with some of those frequently asked questions. Said, hey, watch these couple of videos. I think they were 1 minute each or 2 minutes each. And that was very helpful because it was kind of answering a lot of the questions that you get during the process. When we're talking about because I do think there is etiquette, and there's like almost two types of etiquette. There is etiquette in the way that the content is presented, and there is etiquette in maybe the rawness of the footage. YouTube would be kind of the most formal of both of those. If we're going to put things on YouTube, maybe a little bit more polished, that would be something, hey, maybe we're going to have a little bit more professional background. Maybe we're going to have pretty good audio. We're going to make sure things are business-like, if you will. And I think that if you were looking at ads, it needs to be 10 minutes plus, but I think anything from 5 minutes on is totally fine. I know that from my own, because I check my stuff, most of the videos that I watch and most of the videos that most people watch on YouTube are around 5 minutes, or they're around 15 to 25 minutes. So that's kind of the sweet spots there. And we'll talk about the specific types of videos because I have a giant list, and I'll just kind of go through that. When we're talking Facebook, same thing. This is really and again, can you use it for lead generation? Yes, we can do an entire thing on video ads and lead gen ads on Facebook. If you were going to do any Facebook advertising, video ads are the one to go with, but that's a kind of a different topic at this point. We've already kind of talked about building rapport. I think the only thing to note here is if you're running Facebook stories, you need to shoot it vertical. Facebook stories are a little bit less formal. It can be a little bit more fun. They're going to disappear in 24 hours. Fantastic. If you're running anything off your business page, I would keep it kind of more in that YouTube polish. I'd look like you're going to work. If you're posting from your personal page, number one, I think that if you are at an open house or you're out showing, or you've got anything that may take more than 5 minutes, go live on Facebook, because live is going to, number one, it's going to alert all your friends. It's going to give them a notification. That's what Stacy did on Saturday. She went live. And that's one of the reasons that even with a very short video, she got a ton of views right off the bat. And she just went on and said, hey, this is Stacy. I've been trying to kind of figure out live video. I'm out showing in Grand Blanc. It's not exactly an area I'm in all the time, but these buyers are kind of expanding the search, and just kind of gave a little blurb about what was going on a Saturday. And I think it does a couple of things. Number one, it shows everybody that you're out there grinding on a Saturday for your buyers without saying, hey, look at me, I'm out showing houses on a Saturday. And it also just kind of gave almost like a behind the scenes insight into what's going on. I think that too often people don't see that, number one, we're working all the time, and that we really do put in a lot of time and effort for our clients. And I think it's just that little pull the Wizard of Oz curtain back and say, hey, this is what we're doing. If you are doing something like that, you're going live from your personal page, I have no problem if you're, hey, I've had videos on Facebook where I'm in a t-shirt walking my dog, and I had a thought about, I think it was about when they said we were going into a recession. I'm like, okay, hey, I have thoughts about this. How's that going to affect the housing market? Okay, it's fine. No one cares what you look like. We'll talk about that too. Instagram is very, very similar to Facebook, with the exception that I think that Reels are, again, if you take one thing away from this, go and answer a real estate question in 30 seconds or less and put it on Instagram Reels. That is, if one thing, go put it on Reels. Reels is just getting pushed like mad. I would say that other than Snapchat, this is probably the least formal of the platforms. And I do think there's a fine line too between when a platform gets too established in what they're doing, your reach starts to drop. Like when Facebook ads started to get really big, and then I was like, when Coca-Cola gets in on it, you're like, oh crap. Well, this is dried up.
Flush.
Yep. But that's so, but when they're building something like how Instagram is building Reels, that's a great time to kind of take advantage of this. And we sat down with Lauren yesterday and she told us, oh yeah, hey, one or two of the houses that I sold were because somebody follows me on Instagram. And then it was them or their friend that they followed me on Instagram. They see my stuff, got a hold of me, and they're ready to buy a house. So
I have a question.
yeah.
If you make a video to Reels, can you share it to Facebook? Is that
No.
like you can? Okay.
Yep.
Reels
Instagram is Reels itself. Now, what I would do is I would take that same video and I would put it on your Facebook story. I would film it outside of Instagram. I'd upload it and I would upload it as a Reels. It has to be less than 30 seconds. And then I'd put the same one on your Facebook story.
Got it.
So, yeah, I'd have no, and now if you do upload a video to your Facebook business page, you can share it to your Instagram feed, but not to the Reels. And that's where I would be. Nothing wrong with putting videos on your Instagram feed, and certainly, yes, if it's like, hey, you're not going to do video, you're going to put it on Instagram, your Instagram feed. Yeah. Like put it up. And that actually brings up the thing of IGTV. So Instagram will cut off anything that's more than a minute long. And it will, you'll see it if you're on your Instagram feed and you're watching, and you'll see, it'll have to say like, see more. And that'll pull up what's called IGTV. If you have anything that's a little bit longer, 3 to 5 minutes, that might be a good place for that. But I also have no problem, your Facebook business page, I have no problem with 3 to 5 minutes too. But anything longer than that, I would say just go to YouTube. Also, sorry, one quick note about with uploading to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, upload anything to YouTube separately. Do not share your YouTube link on Facebook. Facebook does not like it. They like stuff that lives inside of Facebook. The minute that you link, I would encourage this for everything. So some people will put a video on YouTube and then they will share the YouTube link to Facebook or to Instagram. Facebook does not like it. They will downplay that because they want you spending as much time as possible on Facebook. And that goes for anything. If you have like an infographic from NAR, save the JPEG, upload it as a picture. You know, even with your listings, save a couple pictures, upload them as pictures, and then, you know, use the link in the comments. Snapchat, I mostly use just as kind of a giggle. I think it's fun. I've got a lot of my past clients on Snapchat, but it's very rarely something that's really hardcore real estate. A lot of times it's something silly that I saw at a listing, or like my home inspector's up on a roof and he's, you know, doing something funny. For me, it's a lot more personal. And you can see that too, just with the times that people are on Snapchat. Most people are on Snapchat like between 9 and 11 p.m. So, you know, hopefully you're getting sober Snapchats from people. Probably not. But yeah, so that's the other thing. Yeah, don't be sharing silly stuff, guys. You know, at least inappropriate. Yeah. Have some level, some modicum of professionalism here. But I do think Snapchat is fun to kind of show people that you're still a person. You know, you have your personal life. And I think that, because remember, I mean, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I think some of that is seeing your personal life. And so I've got no issue with. The other thing I really like about Snapchat is you can respond with messages and that you can directly target one person. So if I've got something like, one of my past clients is an avionics mechanic on a Coast Guard helicopter. So every time that a Coast Guard helicopter would fly over our Macomb office, I would joke, I'd send him a Snapchat. I'd be like, it was every single time, no matter when it was like, oh, you're up in the air today. And it just kind of became a running joke. So you can target at individuals, which I like. And I think that at some point we gotta have some fun in this industry, guys. Things can get really serious, and nice to keep things light.
Was kind of telling about Lauren, and she's not here, but you know, because she's in the closing.
Yeah.
She talked about we were talking about contacting your people, and she does a lot of texting. Like if somebody posts something if she posts something on Facebook, they may say something to her. She may text them versus responding on Facebook, or like kind of have an exchange of more personal.
This brings up, Kim is making the best point of all time right now, that social media not only is a way to get in touch with your database, but it's a gateway to more personal conversation. So a Facebook post can absolutely lead to a text message or lead to a phone call. And hey, I just saw that hers was one of them that had a baby, and it led to a personal note. And then they reached out and said, oh, hey, thanks so much for sending this note. So use social not just as a just as a touch point, but also as a gateway to more touch points. So I think it is absolutely fantastic to, even if you're going to use the direct messaging features inside of it, if you don't have somebody's phone number, but you see that they had a baby, instead of just commenting, hey, congratulations, send them a Facebook message that says, hey, I just saw you had a baby. That's so wonderful. Fantastic. Congratulations. So that's an excellent point. And I really think that that's where the true money is in social. It's using it as a gateway. Just a quick note about embedding thing. I believe that we still have the ability to embed in our CBWM website. I am not 100%. I will double check. I know we did, but again, just as if you're sending clients to your website, having an intro video. Hey, I'm Peg. Welcome to my website. I've been in real estate for 8 years or 7 years. And I have 2 daughters, and great. So I also think that we have on your website, you'll have like area spotlights. And if you can embed video there, hey, especially in the area that we live or that we work, Clarkston's a very unique area in a lot of ways. And having people understand the difference between, okay, this is Village of Clarkston and this is what these lakes are. When you have that personal knowledge, that's what's going to beat out, hey, we've got a big listing broker that's coming out from Birmingham. Well, Birmingham doesn't know the difference between, Deer Lake and they don't know those differences. And that's what I think is going to give you guys a nice solid bump. But I will look into embedding, guys, and I will send out a message to make sure. So I'm going to put that on my notes to follow up with, that I will find out for you guys for sure whether we can embed. And if we can, it is very easy to do. If you upload something to YouTube, you can there's an embed link and you can just edit right in. And I will, if we can do that, I'll post a click through video on the Clarkston training page of this is exactly how you click. Okay, now we're getting to the fun stuff. But if you guys can give me like 10 seconds, I'm going to refill this because otherwise my mouth's going to get dry and it's not going to be any fun. So hang on 1 second.
The only problem with coffee is it makes you great.
I know, I'm thinking the same thing.
It's that kind of a day that we need 2 cups of coffee. Okay, we have a second cup of coffee. So if this goes into hyperdrive mode, now you know why. So exactly. All right. So let's talk about what to post. This is kind of the sticking point. Is this we may discuss to some degree, or we may just zoom through it. I'm not sure. It may just be helpful for you guys to see this as a list, but I might want to kind of point out a couple of things. But I will save this and I'll send out the slide deck, obviously, so it gives you, because one of the things I always struggled with was, well, I want to make a video, but I don't know what to post. I'm going to send out the slide deck, Greg. Okay. And when you have this, and there's 3 of these, so, or 4, I don't know. What I decided to do was every time I thought of a video idea, I would write it down. And for me, unfortunately, I'd write it down on paper and then I'd lose it. So I started then doing it electronically. And I had kind of a backlog of video ideas. And again, do as I say, not as I do, because sometimes you still end up not doing it. But at least it takes away one of those barriers. What we're trying to do is there's going to be a certain number of barriers to doing lead generation activities. For example, with your sphere, it might be number 1, you have fear of rejection. Number 2, you might not know what to say. Number 3, you might not know how to contact them effectively. Okay, well, if we can figure out how to contact them effectively and figure out exactly what you're going to tell them, now you only have to get over one barrier. And so with video here, if we can tell you, because I've taught now, I don't know how many video classes over, I think the past 3 or 4 years at least. And the consistent thing was number 1, I don't know how. Do I need fancy editing software? And
wonderful, thank you.
Just keep
Are
going.
they coming in for closing here? No, you're good. Come on.
You're fine.
Welcome aboard. One of the things was, hey, what do I need a bunch of equipment and I need a green screen, I need a fancy camera and this and this is, and then it was, oh, well, where do I post it and what should I do? And then it was also, well, I don't know what to post. And then it was also, well, I don't like how I look in front of the camera. I don't like how I sound. Well, but if we can take away all the other barriers, okay, you now know exactly what you should post. You know where you should post it. You know exactly how to do it. Now you only got to get over the 1. And if we can help you do that, then you're going to be off and running. So just a couple ones. Some of these are very self-explanatory, but I do want to point out a couple ones. Story branding, I think, is really, really important, is going to continue to be important. I have found this about myself as well. And I don't know if it's something with and again, I might be the exception with my generation, but they are wanting to not only have a brand that has a quality product, but a brand that has a story. So I always use Tom's Shoes as the example because for every pair of shoes you buy, they donate a certain pair of shoes or it's something like that. And so they've created they're not selling the shoe, they're selling the story. And if you can sell the story of Peg Griff Bill, that's what people are buying into rather than just you're the best real estate professional, which you are. But if you can have them buy the story, I think in video, I don't think there's any better way to craft your story than through video. And we may end up just doing a class on story branding itself because I think it's so stinking interesting. And I don't know nearly enough about it, but I think that that's going to become even more important. I think that, and maybe that COVID had something to do with this, but we've discussed this in the past that Facebook used to just be quantity and you just used to be able to blast people and boom. The strategy in 2016, 17 was you better post 4 times a day and you better post in 10 groups. And now it's like, well, everyone's going to hate you if you do that now and you're getting booted out of all your groups. And it's now about the quality and it's about the personal connection. And I think so many of us are so damn sick of Zoom and we want that personal connection again. And so creating your story, I think is just the most important thing you can do. And it's a great way to connect personally. Some of these are easy, guys. If you need any idea, I can give you a gigantic list of these if you know, like, oh, I need to have a couple of ideas of 5 things to do before. Okay. I can give you 30 of them. That's not a big deal. So we're going to skip by that. I think again, utilizing your knowledge of this area. So, hey, here's 5 things that you should know before moving to Clarkston. Again, I'm just bringing Lauren up as an example because she's fresh in my mind because we met yesterday. One of the things she did with her clients that were moving in from Ann Arbor is she sent them a big list of, hey, here are you need to know that you need to order like this at the Union and like you need to know that Honchos has the best margaritas and something about, and it was a place I didn't even know about. You got to get sandwiches at
Essence.
Essence. Okay, yeah. See, like I don't live in Clarkston. I'm just starting to learn these things. Apparently, you have to get sandwiches at Essence. Okay, and it's in the back or something. Like there's some weird thing. It's like a speakeasy of sandwiches. I don't know what the deal is there. So I need to go and get a sandwich from Essence. No, people don't know that if they're moving here, and I think the vast majority of people that are going to be moving here are not in area, and they may be local, but there's that we'll call it hyper local that people really need to know. And I think that it could be I love Clarkston because of Axe. Hey, Bill goes to Honchos for Margaritas on Monday. Hey, we're going to take a quick little video of, hey, this is the best margarita in Clarkston, and you got to come and get this. And there's these, I've heard there's these 5 crazy menu items. I haven't gone to Honchos because Caitlin can't have a margarita, and she's going to be very jealous if we go and she can't. But I've heard that there's these crazy menu items at Honchos, and it's kind of so things like that, or hey, I'm at this particular park. There are very few, I think that if you've lived in Oakland County forever, you don't realize that nobody has county parks. Like Macomb County does not have a single county park that I'm aware of. Right. Yeah, as far as I know, I don't think there's a single. But those are not county. They're like the Huron Tennessee Metro Park system. Yeah, so having Orion Oaks and Groveland and Springfield, that's unusual. I guess the closest one is actually I didn't mention Independence Oaks. Maybe mentioning some of those things. And I never knew it until I worked for Oakland County Parks way back in the day. I was like, oh, this is unusual. I think that the easy one, of course, is hey, what's your house worth? Again, though, doing anything hyper locally. So if most of your business is in Clarkston, or maybe it's a couple of different videos. Hey, what's your Clarkston house worth? And you go over instead of just doing a general market update, which I always used to do is, hey, here's the market for Oakland County. I think that it's more effective now to say, hey, you live in, 346, or is it 436? 346.
Yeah.
Here's the average for this particular neighborhood or this zip code. Or hey, you're in Waterford. Here's the average sale price there. So making it again more relevant to and your mileage may vary as to where take a look at where you sell, where your clients are, and focus on that, or focus on where you want your clients to be. If you want to bump up an average sale price, okay, look at the zip codes and start targeting those. Some of these are easy buyer seller tips. We can help you out with that. I think procedural videos are important, but I think procedural videos are not great if you're trying to develop new clients. I think they're great as a resource for current and past clients. Hey, here's what can happen as X. Here's what happens when your appraisal comes in low. Here's how to I've seen a lot of here's how to win multiple offers videos. And while I like that, if you're doing a here's how to win multiple offers video, someone's already putting in offers. And if they're not already with you, then who are we marketing to?
Right.
So I've some kind of, not a beef with that because I've made those myself. I really think it's important to do collab videos. And that may be interviews, and that may be, I think I kind of skipped past it, but that may be interviews with business owners. It may be, interviews with whoever's managing the restaurant that you go to. It may be, honestly, it may be a quick snippet with the waitress that always serves you. And, hey, here's how things have changed in the last 6 months. And it, again, doesn't have to be real estate related, but our vendors, if a vendor is not willing to come on and do like a podcast or video with you, they will be. I have never had one say no. I've had 3 or 4 different lenders on. I've had home inspectors on. I've had contractors on. I think I had Dawn Payton on a title video at some point. I don't remember. I think we did. Having some of your vendors on, I think, is fantastic. And that, again, shows you that you're the knowledge broker. You are not just, and not that you know everything about all these topics, but you have the right connections. So instead of just saying, hey, just so you know, if you need a handyman, I've got somebody. It's, oh, hey, here's my handyman on, and they're going to tell you the 3 or 4 things that you need to do this fall to make sure that your gutters aren't leaking and your basement gets wet. I think that, like I said, doing hyper-local market updates, but doing market predictions and explanations, there's a lot of noise that's going out about, if I had a nickel for every time I've heard, well, I'm just going to wait until the housing market crashes because it can't go up forever, and so it's got to crash, I would be, I'd be able to go and buy a new Mercedes. And the truth is, we all know, is just there's 0 indicators that that's going to happen. So when we can show that and we can explain what's going on in the market, or, hey, why is the market so crazy? What's going on? Oh, it's a shortage of new construction. We have it's showing that you know what's going on. And avoiding buyer confusion and fear are 2 of the biggest things that we can, I think, help with. And that's what, no matter what anybody says about Zillow becoming a brokerage, about this, and iBuyer, you know what they'll never be able to do is dispel fear by explaining through a massive amount of knowledge. Zillow is never going to be able to, walk into your buyer's house and say, I know exactly what's going on in your zip code, and here's why it's going on, and I can explain this to you because I've been working in this market forever, and I know the people that live here. We got to focus on that. I think if you were going to do one thing, I've already talked about Instagram Reels. If you are going to pick one video to do, or one of these ideas, please pick this one. And it doesn't have to be 30. I'm going to encourage you to be 30 of them, but do as many as you can. 30 real estate questions in 30 days, under 30 seconds. I can give you an entire list of 30 real estate questions because I'm doing this myself. So I've been working on this, but the great thing about this is, number one, you only have to commit to about 1.5 minutes every day. And if you don't have an extra 1.5 minutes to get, I think the first one I posted got 1,500 views, and I had not posted a video in forever. So if you don't have a 1.5 minutes to get in front of 1,500 people, you need to go and find something else. You're either so busy that you don't need to be on this call, which fantastic, yay for you, or we need to look at your time management a little bit better. Yes, the first time it might take you a take or 2. I found actually the most difficult part was keeping it under 30 seconds. You'd think, oh, I got to find something to say. It was keeping it to time. And the great thing about keeping it under 30 seconds is it makes it be concise. And you have to kind of, and not every question is going to be able to be fleshed out in 30 seconds. But if you can kind of, my dad taught me that, he said, because he was teaching law school at the time, and he said, in high school, you try and fill your word count. And then when you really see a great writer, it's how can they get their point across in the most clear and concise manner in the fewest words possible. So it really forces you to do that. But I also think it's a very unintimidating thing. It's not, oh, I have to have a script for, like, Diane, I know you've had some fantastic videos that you've had these great scripts for, but it becomes so time consuming. Even if you write a script, a 30-second script is a lot less difficult than a 5-minute one. So it's kind of a low intimidation point. I'm going to just highlight 2 more of these. Reverse proof, I think, is very cool. A video of not just, hey, we sold for $25,000 over asking, but we sold for $25,000 over asking by having 18 showings, because we did a ton of awesome marketing, and kind of working in reverse to show people how you got to this end result, I think is very cool. And I think that's even more impressive than just a post that says, hey, we sold $25,000 over asking. It's, hey, we didn't just sell this because the market's hot. It's we put in the work and we did X, Y, and Z. I think is really cool. I also love to death debunking HGTV. It's like my favorite thing of doing videos. I haven't done one in a long time, so maybe I'll go and do one. But I like, hey, do you really go and see 3 houses and then pick one? Or, you know, whatever, pick whatever it is. Hey, you know, are you really going to remodel before you list? No, you're not. You're not going to go and cut your entire kitchen while you're trying to move. Like, if you've run into one of those clients, I'd be really surprised. That is their current residence, that they're going to gut their kitchen and remodel their entire house just so they can get a little bit of value. It's just not a thing. And those are funny because people relate to that, because whether or not people are looking for a house, everybody's watching HGTV. So, hello. Of course, promoting your listings, not only having your walkthroughs or your slideshows or your virtual tours, but having you in it in front of your listing. I always used to just, when I left the listing appointment, put the lockbox on and I would tell the sellers that I said, hey, just so you know, even though we don't have a listing contract, I'm going to start promoting your house right now. So if you see me with my phone in front of my face, I'm already promoting your house before we've even put it on the market. And just 30 seconds, it would go on my Instagram and Facebook story, just because it was never really polished. And I would just say, hey, you know, this, you know, beautiful ranch in Clarkson is coming to the market next week. Stay tuned for more details, but you're just going to absolutely love the hardwood floors at Chicago Refinish or whatever the feature is. So those I think are really cool. Also, I think I've shown this and I'm not going to show it again, but go check out Christoph Chu, who has like a bajillion followers, literally just does neighborhood drive-throughs. If you have, like Dana, who just walked by, has got an awesome listing on the golf course. If you did just throw your phone up and drove your Jeep through that neighborhood and is like, hey, here's Pine Knob. People love that. People love that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Hey, there's a, you know, so anyways, see, there you go. That's, see, I just,
Clip it to the cart.
see,
I'll just take Lane with his GoPro.
see, there you go. Enlist your son to do this for you. I just had to pick on Dana because she was walking by. So that's fine.
You just were.
Yeah, you were just an example. That's good. Yeah, so
I know.
okay. All right, so here's what we really want to talk about. Now that I think that we have a handle on like the types of stuff. If you have very specific questions of, oh, okay, well, these 4 slides of different things of ideas are not enough, or I need something more specific, send me a text or send me an email and I will give you the exact, you should say exactly this. And that's great. But that's not what is really holding us back. We all know what it is. And it's that we all hate what we look like and sound like on video, me included. Yay for that. And the truth is, I have run into, we'll really pull back the curtain. I have struggled with a fear of rejection for my entire career. They were always like, the more you do it, the more it'll go away. No, it doesn't. It does not go away, at least for me. But at least, and I actually found that if you are like me and you really are not, I don't want to say sensitive, but if you are really like, hey, I want people to like me and I don't want to be rejected. Video is a great kind of, I think it's kind of a stepping stone into kind of embracing that fear. And that's what I really like about it, because it's, if you're nervous about calling your sphere of influence, but you can reach them on video first, it's that stepping stone of it's moving you up the ladder. And I think to get into that, it's number one, there's no element of rejection, because just because of the algorithms, people are going to see it. And no one's going to comment and be like, your video sucks. And like, no one's going to do that. Yeah, no one will do that. I think what you'll be surprised by is how many people affirm what you're doing. But so let's say that, and the other thing too is, if your video doesn't get a lot of views, you can just blame the algorithm. Oh, guess the algorithm didn't like this video. So there's no downside, which I think is fantastic. Everyone who knows you already knows what you look like and what you sound like. So as you like, I'm not wearing my makeup today and my hair's not done. So that's okay. People know what I look like. I hate what I sound like on video. People know what I sound like. I talk a lot. People already know that. So there's no need to be kind of self-conscious here. I think the thing is, stay away from the paralysis by analysis of, well, I'm not going to do video because, well, I've got to get a script together and it really has to look polished and I need to make sure that I look perfect and that I have the perfect topic. I've done this a million times. Well, I don't know that topic's good enough for a video. It is. It's good enough for video. So do not let perfect be the enemy of getting things done. Just tell yourself it is good enough. And if you thought it was interesting enough to consider, then it's worth 30 seconds of somebody else's time. Remember, sometimes we think that what we do is not all that interesting. I think it's when you're at a barbecue, nobody's like, I have buddies that are ER docs and like have freaking cool jobs. We never talk about their job. Do you know why? Because it's gross. And because I don't want to know about your guy that had his, like, I noted there's certain guys I know to never open text messages from during lunchtime because it's going to be somebody's foot that's burned off. Like, but you know what? We do talk about real estate because everyone cares about real estate. So just remember that. The other thing is, if it's a time issue, I know some of you guys are very busy. Time block an hour and just say, hey, I'll bring, I'll do it at home because my closet's already there and I'll switch, grab 3 shirts and I'm going to film 4 different videos and I'm going to just take an hour and boom, 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 boom. Now you get 4 weeks worth of videos in an hour. So I think scheduling is I know I've struggled with that because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to time block on Monday. I'm going to go up and I'm going to film on, we have a green screen and do this. Oh, you know what? I didn't bring a couple outfits. I can only bring one. They're all excuses. So the other thing is once you've done one, doing the next one is far easier. Kim and I were talking yesterday. I said, my wife always laughs if I do like my first video after I haven't done one in a while, because you'll see my camera roll and it's like 40 takes. And then your second video, it's like 15 takes. And then your third video, it's like 2 takes. And then I got to the point where and it takes less time because I got to the point where about 90% of my videos were 1 take, maybe 2, because you start getting into kind of a flow. And if you're really nervous about being on camera by yourself, grab a buddy and damn video together. I did that for Chris Van Bell and I, for a long, long, long time, did Weekend Update together.
And I'm happy to help. My major was communications and I was on the news for a while. So
there you go. So Bill has no
Tips and
excuses
tricks. Yeah.
Bill has 0 excuses about why not to do video.
NBC TV6 in Marquette, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
See, so you have no excuses.
No, I have no excuses, but I'm also willing to help and I'd be happy
So
to
Bill is willing to help. He's our TV star. So if you have
teach people what looks, what sounds good and looks good.
and
Peter and Bill to help out.
I don't know, but
Jump in.
I do okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
This is,
just like
I was gonna say, this is Penny. I also can help answer questions. I've been in communications and have done video production for most of my career, so happy to
Oh,
help.
wow.
okay, we have an office of future rock stars here, and you guys, I should just be, my Instagram feed should just be blowing up with CBWM Clarkson videos. Ooh, also, if you want to even be blasted more, send us your videos, and we will also, in addition to your own personal feed, we will put them on the CBWM Clarkson Instagram. So just if you want even a little bit more of a shout out there. Couple of very quick nitty gritty things. Just make sure that you match your orientation of the platform. So like Instagram stories and Facebook stories have to be vertical. If you're going to film it on your phone from like for your business page, make sure it's horizontal, guys. We all know that. The only thing that I really think for just filming itself is, number one, people will put up with, your phone has got a 4K camera on it. So you're not going to have poor video quality. The audio is still, it's okay if you don't have anything going on around you. People will forgive poor video more than they will poor audio. So that's just kind of if you know you're going to be filming outside, you can get and I'll post a link. I'll attach it to the slide deck or something of, I think it's Sony, and you can get crazy expensive, but you can get a really decent lav mic for like less than $20. If you're worried about it. And if you want a really good one, it's definitely less than, I think a Rode is like less than $100. So be kind of aware of your audio. Be aware of your background. If you are going to be doing a story or something, it does not matter where you are at all. If you are in your car, make sure like people can kind of see that you're not driving. Otherwise, you'll just get a bunch of comments that say, "Hey, stop filming when you're driving." But again, audio more than anything. If it's windy or something like that, just kind of be aware of that. Your phones are really fantastic for video, but they don't do well in low light. So just kind of make sure that you can either grab yourself, and I'll find a link and post one. You can get yourself like a circle light, which I have one that they do really well for $30, maybe I want to say. But natural light is really your friend. And if anything, as far as the camera work, everything's is auto now, but make sure your camera is like somewhat stable if you're going to be doing a longer shot. If you're doing a 30-second video, just throw your phone up in front of your face. That's fine. But if you're going to do a 5-minute video, I think I even have a phone attachment for the tripod. I've got one. Or grab yourself a gimbal. I want to say I spent $100 on my gimbal. I use my gimbal all the time. It's, for those of you who don't know, it is it's a stabilizer. It's got it's an electronic gyroscope basically that will allow you to control, and it'll make your videos look really smooth. I even use it not just for filming my own videos. I use it all the time for virtual tours for people. If I had people that were coming in from out of state, or I've got people that didn't want to necessarily go out to a house, I would film it that way. And now that your phone has the wide view camera and you take them through on the gimbal, it just makes everything really smooth, and it looks there. If that is one thing that it made my videos look, from going where you're like, that was shot on a phone, to like, was that shot on a phone? It's a fantastic for $100. I think that mine's by DJI or something like that. I'll post it up. If you like a script, which I don't care whether you have a script or not, it does not matter. Some people will like them, some people won't. I have had scripts, I have not. There are a couple of teleprompter apps, and I couldn't give like one solution because there's some that like work really well for Mac, or for like iPhone, but that aren't really good for Android, and the other way around. But just go on your app store, and there's a bunch of different great teleprompter apps that you can load your script, your script into, throw it on your tablet, and set it up in front of your phone while you're scrolling. But the most important of all is be you. If you are I have never done well with like humorous videos. I don't think I'm that funny. It's never worked for me to kind of do those really, kind of cheesy tongue-in-cheek type videos, whereas other people it works really well for. For me, I always kept the tone a little bit more, and not that I'm a real serious guy, I'm a little bit more jovial in person, but it just never translated well to video. Probably because of a sarcastic, kind of I was going to say an asshole, but I was going to try not to swear in these videos. So if you're that way, but be you. If you're funny and you kind of like to make light of things, be how that is. What we're doing is exactly, yeah. So because I tend to be that way, I've just kept my videos a little bit more serious.
Mhm.
Don't create a persona for yourself. Just because you can do that. You can have. Caitlin always tells me that sometimes when I pick up the phone, I put on business voice.
Yeah.
And you can do that, and that's okay to some degree, but let people see you, because they're building the rapport with you, and people can tell if you're fake. And very quick note on editing. It's super simple. Everything that you should do can be done on your phone. If you wanted to get real crazy, don't even just go send it out to Fiverr and pay somebody $5 to do it. There we go. I think the only other thing is the less editing you do sometimes, the better things can look. If you've got a bunch of different transitions and different cuts, people are on a 30-second video. It's like, let's roll things along here, guys. But a jump cut is not the end of the world if we want to edit something out. This is something actually that I have not done yet, so take that with a grain of salt, but I think is really starting to be important. And as soon as I read it, I said, whoa, I've been doing this for a long time and I never realized it. A lot of people watch video with the sound off, which you wouldn't think they do, but people are at work or they're in the bathroom or they're, and there are places where they don't necessarily want to have the sound on for video. So consider just like that you may have sound off. So make sure that if you're uploading it to somewhere where it may work with sound off, this is mostly the social media platforms, not necessarily YouTube. Make sure that you add captions in. Facebook and Instagram can kind of auto-generate captions, but you really got to go through and make sure that nothing looks really weird. But also just the design of your video. If you're doing a longer video, maybe add in a couple of graphics or things that kind of work a little bit better with sound off. I've kind of already mentioned all this stuff. So here's the real question is, I can, and I don't want to like put you guys on the spot and say, well, why haven't you done a video? I will tell you what is, I will be kind of the sheep in the room here and say, I know for me, it has been it's finding the time. It is not scheduling it. It's having ideas. And it's just, I just don't want to put myself out there sometimes. But I mean, none of us do. We're all, and you know, some of us have the personality of, oh, I can get rejected a million times and not care. I'm not one of those people. I'm just not. So,
Let's put out a challenge.
yeah, I am.
We talked about that yesterday.
Yep, I am absolutely. And so we are going to do and maybe we'll have a gift card or something, but we're going to have a kind of a two-parter here. The thing is, I always have what can you take away today? And the first is practice, just go watch stuff in the mirror and just practice and then laugh at yourself and then practice it again. The other thing is we're going to challenge anyone who's on this or all of our offices, and I will send this out in an email. Like I said, maybe we'll get a gift card or something. Film a video. You don't have to post it, but send it to us.
Send it to Peter.
Yeah, send it to me. I can help you edit it if you want, and then we can decide, do we want to post this, do we not? But send me one video. It can be 30 seconds long. Send it to me. You can email it to me, or most of you guys are connected with me on social. You can DM it to me on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever. We're not going to make you post it, but I think that once you take a look at it, you will want to. So that is my challenge to you. Send me one video. It does not have to be anything big. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy real estate related. It can be 30 seconds long about, hey, check out this really coolest thing I was at today. That's your challenge for today is, so I expect, how many people we got here on this call? We have a couple here in person, then we've got like another 7 or 8 on the call. I expect to get my inbox flooded with videos, and I expect to see my Instagram feed just blowing up with. And again, shout out to, I know Stacy's not on this, but I hope she'll watch it later, but shout out to Stacy Gomez, who posted one on Saturday. So, and the other thing too, guys, we will do our absolute best to help, if it's editing, if it's boosting it, if it's, hey, how do I get more engagement? But I don't even think that there was an engagement slide, but the biggest thing to get people actually watching is be consistent, is just post and post and post. And if it's not great, it's not great. There's going to be, they call them unicorns and donkeys. There's going to be some videos that don't perform well. There's going to be some videos that really perform well. Don't worry about it too much. Just keep posting them. But that is, if you're going to do one thing today, film yourself, send it to me. And you know I'm not going to reject you. So there's that. All right. I expect to see a video from everybody. It's my job not to. Yeah, that's right. All right. I'm going to end the meet. For any questions, I know that you guys are going to have questions. Just reach out to me individually. It just may be easier for me to help you with those individual questions than it would to do on the video. But so thanks for joining us. I know that this is not you think it's a fun topic, but it's easy to know how to do it, but it's not easy to do. You know, it's like playing euchre, right? Like it's easy to sit down, and for those of you that are euchre players, like it's easy to sit down and kind of learn what trump is, but it's really hard to really get into it and kind of master things. So I appreciate it. And I'm going to stop the meet. So thanks everybody.